Are you an aging parent or a caregiver who has questions about power of attorney? Maybe you already have your power of attorney documents completed and you don't know about all the responsibilities or what happens next. Or maybe you're thinking about your documents and it's time to complete them, but you don't know how to move forward. I'm Pamela Wilson, and today we'll talk about completing your power of attorney documents, but also the idea of making peace and keeping peace in the family, which sometimes is more important than being right. I'm Pamela Wilson. For the past 20 years, I have helped aging adults and caregivers solve caregiving problems. I've also served as medical and financial power of attorney and court-appointed guardian in many situations that were not peaceful. Many times a professional is appointed not because families get along, but because families don't get along, or because there is no one else to serve. And I'll share a story that will take us through this process and may answer a few questions for you. Years ago, I was appointed for a gentleman named Anthony. Anthony was an elderly gentleman who had a lot of health issues. He had heart concerns, breathing issues. He was on oxygen. He had difficulty with his mobility. He used a scooter because he couldn't walk very well, in part because of the heart issues that caused his legs and his feet to swell. He had weeping legs. He had so many health complications. And he was a sweet, sweet man. And for him, I did a lot of medical advocacy. So making sure that he saw the right specialists, cardiologists, pulmonologists, and other people. If you are a power of attorney or you're appointing a power of attorney, skills of healthcare, caregiving, medical advocacy, they're important. If not, the person that you appoint can learn from people like me or from courses, but those skills are very important because advocating for the best care possible is really what we all want. None of us want to say, oh, give me the worst care possible. I'll suffer. That's okay. We all want better than average care. You'll also notice that I laugh about caregiving situations because in doing this over 20 years, caregiving can be crazy, and sometimes the only way through it is to have a sense of humor and to laugh, especially in situations that are not peaceful. So Anthony had a lot of health problems, and over the years they just accumulated. We went to specialists and to a cardiologist because he kept having issues with his heart. And what we learned was that after all these years, it was so damaged. He wasn't a candidate for open heart surgery. The doctor didn't recommend a pacemaker because his arteries were over 60% blocked. And because of all of his other health concerns, he wasn't a candidate for surgery. So the best we could do was manage his care in a way that he would be comfortable and have a good life. He was living in an assisted living community, and one day he didn't wake up. The caregivers couldn't rouse him, and so they sent him to the emergency room. He was admitted to the hospital, and there was a cardiologist there who called me and said, I think we need to put a pacemaker in Anthony. And I said, let me send you all the records that I've accumulated over the years from prior cardiologists, tests that shows that he's really not a candidate for surgery and that a pacemaker won't extend or improve his quality of life. I sent the information over to the hospital, and the doctor called me and he said, I just disagree with not doing this. I disagree with all the other medical records and the other cardiologists, and I really think that we need to do this. So I thought about it, and I could have caused a ruckus. I could have gone to the hospital ethics committee. I could have asked for a medical review. I could have hired an attorney. But at this point in Anthony's life, I knew that based on my years of experience and talking to his prior cardiologist, that the situation wasn't going to get better. I knew that if they put in the pacemaker, that probably wasn't going to change anything. And so I let it go through. I chose peace instead of arguing, instead of having to be right about the situation. And I did that because I thought, maybe this doctor feels like he needs to do this for another reason. Maybe he didn't put a pacemaker in another patient and that patient died. Maybe something happened in his life. Maybe his mom or dad had a pacemaker. I mean, there was something that just told me, let this one go. In other care situations, never. I am a staunch advocate for what my clients need, what they need for their care. Even if doctors disagree, I will go up against them if I believe that it's important. But in this case for Anthony and his health, I knew that it wasn't going to make a difference, and it didn't. The doctor put in the pacemaker, and 3 weeks later, Anthony passed away peacefully at home in his care community. He just didn't wake up one morning. His heart gave out. It was tired. These are the kinds of decisions that have to be made in families if a family member is a power of attorney. If you're the power of attorney, the person you appoint as power of attorney has to make these kinds of decisions. And sometimes family members will argue because of past relationships. Maybe one was the favorite of the parent. Maybe they didn't get the tricycle when they were little. Family relationships are challenging in caregiving situations. And whoever is appointed that power of attorney may have to battle with family members over the right medical decision versus the wrong medical decision versus we should do this versus we should do that. What's best for mom or dad? What does mom or dad want? Power of attorney can involve a lot of family conflict. And sometimes it's important just to think, do I need to be right? Or is this not a big decision, and can we just all be peaceful and get along? There are so many decisions to be made about power of attorney. Who to appoint? What are the medical decisions that you want at end of life? Do you want a lot of care? Do you want feeding tubes? Medical errors also happen, and I've been involved in those types of care situations where I had to advocate for the care that my client wanted against what the doctors wanted to do. Appointing the right person is important. Thinking about what might happen down the road. Will family disagree? Will there be arguments? You never know what's going to happen. It is so hard to predict. If you're interested in learning more about the power of attorney process, there is a Learn More button below this video. You can click on that to learn more. I'm Pamela Wilson. I help caregivers and aging parents solve caregiving problems. I have served as medical and power of attorney for clients for years, also have been court-appointed guardian. You can learn more on my website. It's PamelaDWilson.com. If you know of other people who would find this video helpful, please share it. There are so many unknowns about power of attorney. Sometimes people are afraid of the legal process. They don't understand the definitions. I can help with all of that because I've been boots on the ground, one-on-one caregiving for clients for so many years, and I've served as power of attorney. Please like or love this video, give me a comment, remember to share it, and I will see you in another video. I'm Pamela Wilson. I help caregivers and aging adults solve caregiving problems, and I can help you.